Hello everyone, so here we go again. So this today we're talking about ghost ships. This is what we're reading about, and on the on the screen at the moment, this is meant to be a photograph or a painting perhaps of the Mary Celeste, a ghost ship. So over to the article right here. This article is on historyextra.com. This is a Getty's image photo. Well, it says photo. It doesn't look like a photo, but I believe it is a photo. Okay, let's go to the top of the article. So it's titled Seven of History's Most Disturbing Ghost Ship Stories That Will Haunt Your Dreams. Discover the truth behind the mysteries and histories of ghost ships, from the most famous examples in nautical legend to forgotten vessels adrift on the oceans. I'll read this a little bit here. I think James Osborne has put this together from October of last year. Then it says, you're a sailor, or maybe you're a famous pirate. Several weeks out to sea, you come across another ship that seems to be acting strangely. Getting a closer look, you realize it's floating adrift, with no sign whatsoever of its crew. It's a ghost ship. So, what is a ghost ship? Ghost ships, also known as phantom ships, are vessels that are found derelict at sea with no crew aboard, and nothing to explain what happened to them. While it sounds like the stuff of legend, the fuel of seafarers' nightmares, ghost ships are real nautical phenomena. They have inspired horror-infused stories and wild theories alike, and their names can send shivers down the spine. Okay, let's miss the next bit out then. So this is the little short list of ghost ships that we'll be looking at, and it starts with this one, Mary Celeste. Okay, here's the photo again. So if you read it as it's written here in English, it's Mary, Mary. But most people read this as not everybody, but most people read it as Marie, more like Marie or Marry, Marry, almost as if that was a double R, marry. If you marry someone, it's said that way. So there's Mary and marry. So I'm saying it those two different ways. Most people say as if it was double R. So Marie Celeste. Okay, so Celeste, that sort of gives us the word, that's Latin, isn't it? It gives us the word, say, celestial. So it's heavenly. That's the meaning of that word there. Okay, so Michael, you came in first today, so it's over to you. That's okay. So is that famous story? Over to you. Is it big enough for you to read the words? Is it clear? Okay, over to you then.
The most famous ghost ship of them all has to be the Mary Celeste. Having left New York in early November 1872, bound for Italy, the merchant brigantine was spotted during a run in the Atlantic Ocean on 5 December. The abandoned ship was found by the Dei Gratia of the Azores, but there was no trace of Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, their 2 years old daughter, or his small crew of seven. While the cargo and crew's personal belongings were undisturbed, the sails had been only partial sails. A log entry had not been made in the last 10 days, and the lifeboat was missing. What's more, although there was water in the hold, the Mary Celeste was at no risk of sinking. So what caused Briggs and the crew to desert a seaworthy ship, and what were their fates? There have been many theories. Despite a lack of evidence, some were suspicious of mutiny, piracy, or an elaborate fraud. In the years since, natural phenomena like waterspouts, essentially a tornado at sea, or fears that the gases leaking from the alcohol in the hold could explode have also been mooted.
And do you want to read the next
Uh,
little bit as well?
yes, yes. While no conclusive explanation has ever been uncovered, the leading hypothesis suggests that Briggs believed the ship to be sinking incorrectly. It was taking on water, and one of the pumps seems to be broken, which may have led the crew to carry out a hasty and premature evacuation.
Yeah, that was a fantastic reading. Very, very good. Well done. So anything you want to ask about that little bit they've read out? All pretty clear.
Abandoned, abandoned.
Abandoned. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. Abandoned. Abandoned.
Mm, De Gracia of the Azores.
So yeah, so the bit in italics, looks like Latin again, doesn't it? So that means something like God's grace, I suppose, if I translate it. And I think you're saying it right. De gratia or you could say it. I think the English say, oh dear, grat. The Latin way is gratia, isn't it? I think de gratia. And this is a set of islands that are owned by Portugal called the Azores, or Azores, somewhere in the Pacific, the Atlantic Ocean. So de gratia.
Yeah, you are correct. It sounds like a Z. De
Oh,
grazia.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, there we go. Although a lot of English people would say grazia. Oh, no. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. There was anything else? Anything else there,
Um, maybe
Michael?
pronunciation
It's a
belongings.
it's a bit tricky. Is that where was it down here? Some wasn't it? I think
It's
belonging.
first paragraph.
Oh, we've missed it, have we?
Funny,
Right.
they got this paragraph, but four sentence.
Oh yes, there we go. I say it.
Four sentence.
Belongings, belongings. So it's their luggage, clothes, that sort of thing. Belongings. Do you want to give it a go?
Belongings. Belongings.
Almost. So if you just say that bit there, so it's something belongs to you, you own it. So belong. Can you just try belong maybe?
Belong. Belong.
Okay.
Belong.
Yeah. You're missing out the sort of the ng up here, sort of thing. So you're just saying belong, belong. It's not really saying the ng together. That's trick, and it is tricky. um, maybe miss off the s. Belonging, belonging.
Belonging.
Okay.
Belonging.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not making the ng sounds really. That's it. That's the trick. That is tricky. And we won't go into that again. I don't think. I didn't really notice it when you read it out. To be honest, it was pretty good. I thought.
Uh,
Anything else?
Phenomena like water sports.
Yeah, you're pretty. Yeah, that's pretty good. So this here it's sort of two words you might say, which sort of glue together. So it's water. Whoops, water, and then spouts. That's what I'm saying. Water spouts. Water spouts.
Water spouts. Water
Yeah,
spouts.
yeah, that's pretty good. They got a plural. They're making it into a plural. So as it says here, a water spout is basically it's a tornado or a hurricane, something like that at sea. So what it seems to be like a jet of water coming out of the sea. It can be a very peculiar thing to look at the sea. But, so the word spout here, you might say a kettle has a spout where the water comes out of. That sort of protrusion, that metal thing on a teapot or a kettle where the water comes out, that's called a spout, and that's why it's using this word here, water spout. Anything else there? How about mooted? You pronounce it very well. Do you know what it means, mooted? Mooted.
This.
Anything?
I don't know. Your gas is leaking from the outer. Oh.
This is quite a famous ship, the Marie Celeste, and a lot of people have come up with ideas as to why it was abandoned or why the crew was all missing. We assume it was abandoned, of course. And so this idea of mooted, that's with this let's pop it into the dictionary and cut some corners. Here we go. So moot, I just miss off the ed. So if you moot something, if a plan, idea is or subject is mooted, it is suggested or introduced for discussion. So if you moot something here, you're adding it in for discussion. So there's also a moot point. That's a little bit different. If something is a moot point or question, people cannot agree about it. Okay, so it's a bit sort of divisive, they're saying here. A moot is an event where students discuss a legal question as if it was a court case. So you sometimes get what's called a moot court. And it's sort of a pretend court where people pretend to be lawyers and they practice at being a lawyer. So there's about 3 different meanings. R1 is this first one, isn't it? So it's just an idea that's been suggested, basically. That's it. So just an idea, in fact, or suggested idea, you could say in there. There was something down the bottom here I noticed. I can't think what it was now. Let me think. I seem to be. I think. What was it you said now? The word. So there's this word down here on the bottom line. Considered okay. How would you say that word there?
Hasty?
Almost. So hasty. Hasty.
Hasty.
Oh, good. That's it. And if you're sort of rushing a little bit, and you're rushing, you're being too quick, and you're making mistakes, you can say you're being a bit hasty. You're being quick, but you're actually making mistakes in your rush to get something done quickly.
Is this word related with hustle, bustle?
It might be. I really don't know, actually. Good point. Interesting. So there's a little saying, more haste, less speed. Is that right? That's a saying. Hasty movement, action or sudden, is often done in reaction to something that has just happened. So it's quickly, fast, rapid, hastiness, hastily. It doesn't really help me. But it comes from the French, hasty, hastif. Because they don't pronounce the H, so it'd be astif, maybe estif. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm guessing. I don't know. Interesting question, though. So the American versions have done or made with haste, quick, it's hurried. A hasty lunch, you may have a hasty lunch. If you do something in haste, it means you've rushed something very quickly. Done or made too quickly and with too little thought, rash, impetuous, short-tempered, hasty. Yeah, I suppose so. Showing irritation or impatience. There we go. Yep. Good question there. I thought it was a fantastic pronunciation. I really liked it. Very good. There was something. I noticed there was the word fraud somewhere up here. Fraud. You said it slightly incorrectly the first time, but then you repeated it and you corrected yourself. So that's fantastic. It's great when you can spot that you've made a mistake. When you correct yourself, that's just fantastic. It was good. The word fraud, but you said it perfectly after your second go. Let's scroll up a little bit then. I think this is where we started, wasn't it? Brigantine. And I think, have you seen this word before? Brigantine. I think you said it basically perfectly, I think. Brigantine.
Brigantine.
Have you seen it before? Did you guess the pronunciation, brigantine?
In Ukrainian,
Oh.
we have the word brigantina. Brigantina, it's related with ships.
Ah,
Yes, so it's maybe a French word, or it's
yes.
but in our language also
That's
we
very
have this word.
fantastic.
Italian.
The Italian they have with the brigantine as a pirate ship. Fantastic. But it's a two-masted one, it seems to be. That's fantastic. Very good. Anything else up here at all from anybody, or from Michael at all? I think when you read this out here, you said 5 December. I think that's the Americans often say it that way. The Brits, or I tend to say 5th. With this little bit here, I said in the Atlantic on the 5th of December. So I'll put a "the" in there and a "th" sound, 5th, on the 5th of December. So this may have been written by an American, this article, or maybe for an American audience, perhaps. But I think we tend to slip those little words in. And I can't remember where it was, but it was, I get these two words mixed up. So there's that word and whoops, and there's that word. And I think you gave the pronunciation for the other one, I think. So this one here is desert. Desert. Let me pop it into the dictionary to be absolutely certain. I don't want to teach you something stupid and that's wrong. So that's desert, as far as I'm aware. Desert. So I'm wrong. So a desert is a large area of land, usually in a hot region, where there is almost no water. So this is desert. I pronounced it wrong. I made a big mistake there. So let's listen to how they say it.
Deserts.
Oh, there's an S on there. But if we stuck another S in there, it changes the word. So I need to learn this myself, really. So dessert.
Dessert.
There we go. So dessert is something sweet, such as fruit or a pudding that you eat at the end of a meal. That's dessert. Dessert. So okay. So if we take out an S and look back to this one, so this is desert, which is the large area of land which is dry. But here we go. So the noun is pronounced. Listen to this one.
Desert.
Desert. That's the noun. The verb is pronounced.
Dessert.
Yeah. Okay. I can't remember now. I think you might have mixed them up slightly, but maybe I'm wrong. It might be that clearly I was wrong at the beginning, but I think so. Just be aware of that. So it's spelt the same. So the verb and the noun sound differently. So the sandy area where it's very hot and no one lives is
Sahara
desert.
Desert.
Yeah.
Desert.
But if you abandon a ship, such as the Mary Celeste, it's the other one.
Dessert.
Dessert. There we go. So it said two different ways. And so it sounds like the meal you might have, the small dessert meal that you have at the end of a main meal. Okay. That's it. And I think you were right and I was wrong actually originally. So well done. And there was also the word crew as well. I know it was now. So there was an S on the end, and I think you just missed the S off. Simple as that. Crew. So just crews. That's crews. So this is the people who are on the boat. Is that one there actually? That one there. Any questions from anyone else? So if something's seaworthy, it means it's good to go to sea. It won't sink within a few days of going to sea. It should be seaworthy. So I think you got up to here. If I just finish the story off down to here, maybe. So ultimately, the reason for the Mary Celeste's abandonment remains one of the maritime's history's greatest mysteries, as is the fate of its crew, because all the people on board the boat disappeared. The boat survived, but no one else did. Of course, they may have gone to a desert island. Okay, so I think it was Elena, you were next. So you have this other boat here. This one was much more recently, but it's still getting on for 100 years ago. And again, I've not heard of this one. And so the name of I might be mistaken how you pronounce this, but I'm guessing is SS Beicino, I should say. So it's over to you, Elena, if that's okay.
Mhm. For 10 years, from 1921, when it came under the ownership of the Hudson's Bay Company, the cargo ship SS Beicina traversed the fraught northern waters of the Arctic Circle, carrying furs and other goods to and from trading posts on Canada's north coast. In October 1931, it became trapped in pack ice off the coast of Alaska, completely stuck and with no prospect of breaking free before the ice crushed the ship. The all but skeleton crew of 15 were evacuated by plane. The men who stayed hoped to wait out the winter by living in a wooden shelter near the stricken by China. But after bunkering down for several days during a blizzard, they emerged to find the ship had disappeared. They assumed it had sunk. In fact, the Baichina remained afloat and had broken free of the ice after all. After being corrected by seal hunters who had spotted it floated free, the sailors tracked it down, retrieved some of its cargo, and then abandoned it once more. Over the next few decades, the Baichina has spotted numerous times in Arctic waters. Attempts were made to board or salvage the vessel, but the ice and weather conditions meant it always eluded capture. The last confirmed signing of the crewless ghost ship was in 1969. That said, there have been sporadic reported sightings since. Is it possible that its voyage continues?
I like that. Is it possible the boat's still going?
Mm.
Okay, so let me just read that last paragraph for you again. So, the last confirmed sighting of the crewless ghost ship was in 1969. That said, there have been sporadic reported sightings since. Is it possible that the voyage continues? It's asking a question there, aren't they?
Mm.
So, is this a bit of a tricky word for you? Sightings?
Sightings.
Yeah.
Sightings.
Sighting. So it's sight, your eyesight, basically. That's the word it's coming from here. So sight, and then an ing on the end of it. So sightings.
Sightings. Sightings.
Your first go was the best, I think. So maybe we'll come back to it. But it's sightings. So sight, and then ings, sightings.
Sightings.
Oh, that's getting it.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I think you missed off the less. Oh no, you said this okay. So crewless.
Crewless, yes,
That's it.
without crew.
That's it. All the people have disappeared again. Well, we know why they disappeared, but this is an amazing story. So it's not really, in a sense, it is a ghost ship, but we know exactly what happened. They thought the ship was going to sink. It didn't. Everyone got off board, and it just went off on its own accord. But it's amazing that this happened in 1931, and in 1969 it's still floating around. That blows my mind. That does. So, any words there you want to go back over again?
Mm. stricken, maybe. Yeah,
Whereabouts is that one?
in the middle. The
Uh-huh.
wooden shelter near the stricken by China.
Yeah, so is it the word stricken you're saying?
Stricken,
Stricken.
yes,
Yeah, stricken. Oh, yeah, stricken. I can see it. So let's put it in the dictionary. Stricken. You're saying it quite well, actually. Stricken. Stricken is the past participle of some meanings of strike. Yeah, some, not all meaning, but some. So if a person or place is stricken by something, such as an unpleasant feeling or an illness or a natural disaster, they're affected, severely affected by it. There we go. So hit by something, you might say, hit by a certain disease, stricken by COVID might be a classic one. But if you have a strike when people don't go to work, it's struck is the past tense, I think, isn't it? Struck is the past tense. And in this other case, it's stricken. Yeah.
Stricken by China. But after bunkering down, bunkering.
Yeah, I wonder if they meant a different word here. I think maybe that should have been an H. So the Americans have a word hunkering down, but bunkering, maybe that's a word I've not heard of. So let's pop it in the dictionary. Bunkering down. I think it's a typo personally, but so do you have bunk beds? Bunker. So yeah, that's true. A bunker is a place usually underground that has been built with strong walls to protect it from heavy gunfire or bombing. A bunker contains coal or fuel. On a golf course, a bunker is filled with sand. In golf, it's a bunker with a shot.
Ah, yeah, we pronounce it bunker.
Bunker, yes, bunker. But it still feels like the wrong word to me. Let's go down to the American English.
During the Second War, it was usual.
Oh yes, a bunker. Yes, and Hitler had
Everywhere,
a
yeah.
bunker. Hitler was in a bunker under Berlin somewhere. That's it. To bunker, to supply a ship with fuel. So they're bunkering down. Maybe it is. Maybe it's to do with shipping because there's mention shipping there. So I've not heard of that one. But the Americans do have a word hunkering down, hunkering, which is again sort of looking after yourself very carefully. Perhaps it's very windy or very bad conditions. You hunker down.
Especially bunkering down.
Again, this might just be a seafaring term that only people on the sea use. That's my suspicion, but I've not really come across this word before. Obviously, I've come across the word bunker. Someone's in a bunker, that kind of a thing for protection. But this is a bunker on the ice. No, I don't think so. No. Let's just quick look at the word hunker. I think that was I still think it's a typo, but it could be either. So I put an H in there. So now it says hunkering now. Bunker, bunkering and hunkering. So this is hunker. So and there it says hunker down. Exactly what it says in the So to squat, to crouch, to remain in a place of safety, see, especially in a storm. I think this is the word they really meant to use. To settle down on one's haunches, squat or crouch, haunches, buttocks, rump. So it could be either word. I mean, buttocks, yes. But I think it would be like the back of your thighs, really.
Yes, I know.
That's your. Okay. There we go. It could be a buttocks too.
Yeah, next word, the same sentence. Blizzard.
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 A snowstorm is called a blizzard. A bad snowstorm is called a blizzard.
Storm.
But it's snow. It's not
snow.
If it's rain, it's something else. It's another word. But if it's snow, it's a blizzard. But it has to be quite severe, not just a little bit of snow sort of thing.
Yuga.
Anything else there? With the ship's name, it sounds as if you're putting an A on the end when you're reading it out, an A. And I think I pronounced that as an N to start with, but I think you're pronouncing the letter M there as an N. So I would pronounce that as, and I'm guessing, to be honest, Beichimo. Beichimo.
Beichimo.
Yeah, I'm just guessing, but that's how I would say it. But that's it. You've got it, I would say. There were a couple of. There was so up here. You got the word furs. Could you say furs again? So maybe
Furs,
and
furs,
again
furs.
furs, furs.
Mhm.
Perhaps furry. Say the word furry. Your cat is furry.
No, furs, fur coat, I know.
Yeah, it could be a little clearer. That's why I'm trying to get you to say slightly different words. So cats have fur, and it's nice to sort of pet them and rub their coats, their furry coats.
Furry.
So can you say, my cat has a furry coat?
My cat is a furry coat.
Yeah,
Has a furry coat.
yeah. Okay, so it's
My
not quite there. So there's another word, and you're sort of between these two words when you're saying it. So if I say both of these words, so furry and ferry, ferry down the bottom, and now furry, furry. Do you want to just try both of them?
furry, fairy.
Ah, your ferry's reasonably clear. Yeah, that's getting there. So maybe once again, so I'll say them for you. So furry, my cat's very furry, and ferry or a boat, a ferry. You'll go.
Furry and fairy.
Yeah, your ferry's very clear. It's fairly clear, I think. This one still wants a little bit of practice, I think. Furry. And
Furry.
it is a bit trickier. I feel that too, actually. So
Mhm.
we'll come back to that maybe. And also, while we got this here, there was an in fact there. And I think this came up with Christina last week. So could you just try that, those two words again there? So in fact.
In fact,
No, that's really clear. That's really clear. Yeah, that's good enough. It just sounded a little bit slight like a swear word when you read it out, but so it's right there. But yeah, I think you had it. You've have it now. That's perfect, actually.
they seem to in fact is
In fact,
Mhm.
yeah. And at the beginning, there was something up here. Was it the beginning? The very first word I noticed it was. I think it was.
maybe traversed.
Yeah. So if you travel across something, across England or across Russia or the ice, you might say I traversed. Traversed. To go across something. Traversed. So trav and versed. Do you want to give it a go? Traversed.
Traversed.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Traversed. Oh, there it is up there. And maybe
Fraught.
that
Yes,
word up
fraught.
there.
Fraught.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Fraught. Do you want to give it a go? Fraught.
Fraught.
Um.
It's like pronunciation like a fraught. It's between head and body. Fraught. You know,
No,
above the body. But pronunciation the
not
same.
quite, not quite. So, well, I'm not quite sure what you're saying. So, if a situation or action is fraught with problems or risks, it is filled with them. So, these are adjectives. So, if that situation or action is fraught, you mean that it is worrying or difficult. So they're crossing the fraught ocean, was it, or the fraught, the fraught northern waters. So the tricky northern waters. Do you want to give another go? So fraught northern waters. Do you want to just say that maybe?
Fraught northern waters.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And maybe with the traversed as well to the whole
Mhm.
of that line. So I'll say it for you. So traversed the fraught northern waters of the Arctic Circle. You'll go.
Traversed the fraught northern waters on the Arctic Circle.
Okay, you're getting it. You're getting it. That's good. So I can't really think of anything else. Anything else from anyone else? Any other questions? Anyone else? There's another one here thinking about.
Salvage is
Yes, exactly the word I was thinking. So
salvage
that's
the
there.
vessel.
So
Yeah.
go to this one first though. So that one there.
Cargo. Cargo.
Oh yeah, that's it. So often when there's an O on the end, you make it into an ah sound. Occasionally, I guess it is an ass sound occasionally, but this is one of the cases where it's that's it go. So cargo, that's it. It's always cargo, that one. And the other one, of course, was this one here. I did notice that. So, do you know the meaning of this word?
No, I don't know.
So you often, if there's something is at sea and it is lost or damaged or the boat has sunk, you talk about salvaging the sunk boat or the damaged boat. Maybe it's still floating but on fire. And the salvage is going to sort of try to get it back, to put the fire out and try to put the back and try to recover the value that has been lost or potentially lost in the boat. So if you salvage something, you're trying to get it back, you're trying to repair it, you're trying to save it from the damage or the fire, maybe. So do you want to give it a go? Salvage.
Salvage.
Yeah, that's it. Salvage. That's it. You got it. And the salver is the person who's in charge of trying to salvage the boat. That's the salver. That's the person who goes out on another boat to try and rescue another boat from sinking or whatever it is. That was a good reading, I thought. Well done. So maybe if you just scroll on to Giuseppe, is that okay? I think we've had a good look at that one.
Last couple of words.
Mhm.
Eluded capture. Eluded capture. Yeah.
Yes. So if you elude, it meant that you somehow got away. If someone's chasing you and you elude them, it means that you got away from them and they were not able to capture you.
Mhm.
That's what they're saying. But I think you cut. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. Eluded. That's it. Well done. Very good.
Yeah,
So
thank
it's
you.
over to. This is the Flying Dutchman. This is the
The
ghost.
famous.
This
The
is the
famous
ghosty one,
post.
isn't it? The other two previous stories, this you can sort of vaguely imagine something might have happened. The Marie Celeste, the captain may have thought the boat was sinking because there was some water in the hole down below. And the other ship was, well, we know exactly what happened. They left it because they thought it was being crushed. But the Flying Dutchman, that's the ghosty story, isn't it? And that's yours, Giuseppe, if that's okay.
Okay.
So if I scrolled up to there, I scrolled up a bit too high there. Okay, a name it starts. There we go.
Yeah.
Over to you, Giuseppe.
A name that can strike fear in a sailor's heart. The Flying Dutchman puts the ghost in ghost ship. Unlike the real vessels on this list, this ship is based on myth and legend. A ghoulish warship unable to make port, so doomed to sail the ocean for eternity. And to sea, it is a portent of disaster. First mentioned in literature in the late 17th. Okay. Supposed sightings of the Flying Dutchman, often through thick veils of mist and fog, have been reported for centuries. The future George V and his brother Prince Albert Victor apparently spotted the ship off the coast of Australia in 1881. Yet no evidence exists that the Flying Dutchman was ever real. Instead, it occupies a more archetypal place in the lore of naval history. The Flying Dutchman has inspired poems and stories, an opera by Richard Wagner, and most recently, the terrifying ship captained by Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
You've read it. You've read the whole thing. That's it. Okay. So anything you noticed there you want to go back over again? You had quite a short one there.
For short, in the second paragraph, in the late, first line, in the
Yes.
late,
So this is read as 1700s.
Okay, thank you.
1700s. That's it. So it's another way of saying a certain century. But we'd read that as 18th century, of course, because it's sort of 100 years behind effectively. So that's the 18th century. But in that way, it's read as the 1700s. But it means the same time period. I can't really see anything there, but there was a couple of things you actually corrected yourself on. So centuries, it just came out slightly odd, and so you said it a second time, and you were perfect. I loved your Wagner. That was good because there's a. It looks like Wagner if you look at it. So it's Wagner, whatever. So you said it perfectly. I thought most people say it is Wagner. That was it. Yeah, there it is. If there was another name in front of it, Albert maybe, or Peter, you might possibly read it as Wagner. You could possibly read it as Wagner. But being that we're talking about an opera and it then says Richard, you pretty much can guarantee this is Wagner, can't you? So you have to guess to a little degree, or which way should I read that? Because some people would read that as Wagner, I think, but and they're sort of okay, but because it's Richard and it's an opera, you probably have to say it as Wagner, just as exactly as you said it. Well done. Anything you noticed there? Anything else?
Yes, in first paragraph,
Mhm.
third line, the last word, I think it is an adjective, completely new to me.
Yes. So you said it very well. I thought I couldn't really improve on it, but it relates to this word because it starts with G and H, doesn't it? And so ghoulish, exactly as you said it. But it's slightly different in that there's other ways of using it outside of ghost. So it doesn't really necessarily mean just ghost, but if you're talking about cutting up somebody, that you could. Let's actually read so ghoulish people and things show an unnatural interest in things such as human suffering, death, or dead bodies. So that's being ghoulish. You like certain movies. Oh, that's a bit ghoulish, isn't it? You might say. Something that is ghoulish looks or behaves like a ghoul. So what's a ghoul? So it's basically the same meaning as a ghost, you might say. A ghoul and a ghost are pretty much basically the same thing. Let's take off the IS. So there's two sort of ideas with ghoulish. It's being a sort of a little bit obsessed with blood and death, etc., which got nothing to do with ghosts, you might say. Well, at least vaguely, maybe. And it's an adjective to do with ghosts, isn't the other meaning? So just search ghoul. See what it comes up as. So a ghoul is an imaginary evil spirit. Ghouls are said to steal bodies from graves and eat them. Or maybe that's where the interest in being ghoulish is being overly interested in death and bodies, etc. So that's a noun. If you describe someone as a ghoul, you mean that they show an unnatural interest in things such as human suffering, death, and there's dead bodies, etc. Okay. But it's more likely to mean sort of ghostly kind of a thing. I think if you asked most people what is a ghoul, they wouldn't necessarily say, "Oh, a ghoul is a ghost that steals dead bodies and eats them" or something. I don't think people necessarily would have known that. I would guess they might say zombies do that. I guess, but so be interesting. Asking some good questions there. Very good. Anything else? Do you fancy just rereading that little bit there? Just that little sentence there. Is that okay?
Okay. First mentioned in literature in the late 1700s, supposed sightings of the Flying Dutchman, often through thick veils of mist and fog, have been reported for centuries.
That's it. That's a very good reading. So just this word here, there's at least two different ways of reading it. But it actually is a third way thinking about it, isn't it? So let's look at these 2 or 3 ways of reading, saying that word, pronouncing it. Because it's the other way. In this case, I think you said it the wrong way, sort of a thing. So, here we go. So very kindly, they stuck a thing up here. So supposed. This is. How I read this one. This. So one way of saying it is this way.
supposed,
Supposed. And that's with the D sound on the end. And they're saying the other way is more with a slight bit of a T sound on the end. You can't. There is a difference. Let's listen to it. This is the second way of saying it.
supposed,
Supposed. So supposed and supposed. Basically, they're equal. Those two there. You can say it either way. But there should be another one here. Here we go. So, this is the word that we've got here. The word reread out should be said this way. And let's listen to how they say it.
supposed,
So it's got this id. So it's not ed. It's id. Strange, isn't it? So, and it's in the fourth. Is that right? No, for the fifth meaning, I think, isn't it? So if something is, let's go straight down to the fifth meaning. So if you can use supposed to suggest that something that people talk about or believe in may not in fact exist, happen, or be as described. So we're talking about a ghost ship, so that lots of people are going to doubt if it really exists, or it may not exist, or did it really happen. It's a ghost ship. So in that case, we have to say supposed. Supposed. So if I just I think you said it this way, I think. If we just listen,
supposed,
that's very clear the way she says it. But the real way is this one.
supposed,
Do you want to give both of them a go? You're okay on the first one. It's the second one, really. So that one there.
supposed,
Do you want to do that one again?
Yeah, supposed.
Yeah, that's it. Supposed. And that's a way of sort of casting doubt about something. Is it true or not? By saying supposed, you're sort of putting into doubt all of a sudden if you use that word. So, do you want to just read that little bit there just to use the word?
Yeah.
Supposed. Here we go.
First mentioned in literature in the late 1700s, supposed sightings of the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. That's it.
Supposed.
Yeah. So supposed sightings of the Dutchman. Supposed. Yeah. A bit tricky. So you've got to think, we're talking about ghosts and things. So if you see the word supposed, it's going to be supposed. Sid. So S-I-D, you might think. But you've got to guess that almost. It's very tricky. So well done. Well, that was the only thing I could really spot. And I missed it, first of all, when you read it, actually. It did actually mention, if I just search the word, so it was, is it there? Yeah, Davy. So what does it mean here where it says, who's this guy here? Why does it mention this person? Any ideas?
Davy Jones.
Yeah, Davy Jones. So they're saying, so the terrifying ship captained by Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Caribbean. Okay, so let's search. So this particular, these two names together has a particular meaning in itself. So, well, also Davy Jones is a music star from the Monkees, and this is a photo of him here. But normally, before this guy came along and became very famous from the Monkees, if you talked about Davy Jones, everyone had a particular idea in their mind, and it was to do with seafaring. So here we go. So what was Davy Jones' cause of death? Well, that's this guy here. But I'm not talking about him. But when it says here, was Davy Jones a real pirate? No, this is the sort of thing we're talking about. So David Jones, a real pirate, although not a very well known one, lived on the Indian Ocean in the 1630s. But it says it's not very well known. A lot of people will know the phrase Davy Jones locker. So Davy Jones locker has a certain meaning to it. So let me just tap that in. Oh, there it is. It came up. Davy Jones locker. So there we go. Let's let Google do the work. So Davy Jones locker is a nautical term that refers to the bottom of the sea, a metaphor for the ocean's depths and a euphemism for drowning or shipwrecks. So this mention of Davy Jones, they're sort of I wasn't really aware of it, but apparently they're saying this guy here, Davy Jones, is in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. So there we go. And this word here, there's two ways of saying that. So there's the Caribbean and there's the Caribbean. That's the two ways of saying it. One's American and one's British. Caribbean and Caribbean. You'll hear both of those said. Do you want to just practice both of those, perhaps, Michael? Giuseppe, I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Do you mind repeating for me?
So Caribbean and Caribbean. Caribbean.
Yeah. Caribbean and Caribbean.
That's it, yeah. So you'll probably hear both of them, though. Especially with this sort of movie here, because being it's a Hollywood movie, they'll presumably say it the American way and not the British way. And I forget which is which. And I think Carib is the name of a meant to be the name of a tribe that live on an island in that area. And I think they used to eat humans, used to eat people. And so there's a certain amount of fear about going to the Caribbean in these times, and these from hundreds of years ago. You may be eaten alive. So it's just about 7 o'clock. But if you want to, we can carry on reading, because these ghost ships are fantastic. How should we do it? It says Soviet submarine. So is it okay, Elena, if you read
Yes,
this one?
I don't mind. Yes. Few maritime mysteries are as perplexing as that of the MV Joita, a luxury yacht-turned commercial vessel that disappeared in the South Pacific in 1955. It had set sail from Samoa on 3rd of October with 25 passengers and crew aboard, bound for the Tokelau Islands, just over 300 miles away. It never reached its destination, but 5.5 weeks later, the Joita was discovered more than 600 miles off course, still afloat yet partially submerged. All 25 people were missing, along with 4 tons of cargo, the ship's logbook and navigational equipment. Adding to the confusion, the radio had been tuned to the international distress signal, but no SOS call had ever been received. The ensuing investigation brought no clear answers to what befell the ship. Since then, theories have ranged from piracy and botched abandonment after a mechanical failure to kidnapping by a Soviet submarine and murder by a Japanese fishing fleet.
Wow. So any questions about that little bit there?
Questions about meanings of words and
Yeah, I
pronunciation
don't know if it's a true story or not. But yes, the
about
pronunciation.
Japanese fishing fleet. Yes. Yes, it happens recently. It's 155 years. So it can happen.
1955, yes.
Yeah.
1950.
So it's the last missing ship.
Mm.
Maybe it was 70 years ago.
Quite recently, yes. Relatively recent. Living people alive would know about it anyway.
Yeah, maybe their
Anything?
relatives still alive. Yeah.
Any pronunciation questions there or anything? There's a couple of things I noticed.
Perplexing, perplexing.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah, so it's perplexing.
Perplexing.
That's it. If something is worrying you and you can't sort of solve it, it's perplexing. Oh, this problem is really perplexing me. I can't sort it out. I can't solve it. Yep, that's it. I think also when you read it out, I think that word wasn't quite clear to me. So maritime.
Maritime.
So
Few
anything on
maritime.
anything on the water is sort of maritime. Anything naval you can refer to as maritime.
Maritime.
And the name of the boat, I've not seen this name before, or I don't really know how to pronounce it. But if it was Spanish, the J might be h, with a h sound, isn't it? I think. So I really don't know how to pronounce the name of the boat. It could be Joita, but I'm just guessing. I don't know. I don't know.
Sometimes J pronounced like H.
Yes. So very heavy breathing. Joita. I'm guessing. I just don't know. Perhaps any of you guys have heard of this story or know how to pronounce this particular name. Could be a made-up name.
About that.
But there's this word here. This is relatively famous. This one here. A lot of people have heard of this place. It's some islands. There's American.
Where is Papua New Guinea? Something there.
It's not a
In the
million
Pacific
miles away, but
Ocean.
it's not sort of next door, I wouldn't say. So this is pronounced as Samoa.
Samoa.
Yeah. So and I've not come across these islands before. So
Tokelau.
yes, Tokelau, I think.
Tokelau Islands.
Yeah, because there's Palau, isn't there? So Tokelau, I think. I'm guessing again. I'm not too sure. Anything else? I think your cargo came out okay there. That was good, I think. I liked how you weren't too sure when you came to that word, but you said it perfectly, really. So befell. If a problem comes up in your life, you can say it befell you.
Befell.
Normally talk about problems as befalling.
Theories have ranged from privacy and botched.
Yeah, so
Botched.
that's it. That's pretty good. Yes, botched. So if something has gone wrong, you can say it's been botched. I had a plumber in to put in a new bathroom, but he botched it. So he did it wrong in some way. Something's wrong. The car repair has been botched. But it might be perhaps if you're doing a job and you can't do it quite properly, you haven't got the tools or the time, you might botch it and just get it so it just about does the job it's meant to, but it's a little bit botched and you have to come back to it. That's another way of using it, perhaps.
Okay, so nobody knows what happens.
No, this one, no, yeah, that's right, yeah. So when it says Soviet submarine, I wonder if there is a spying aspect to this story. Is it because it was going somewhere across a border and it wasn't allowed? Because it was eventually found, but 300 miles away, I think it was, which is quite a distance. No, it was actually 600 miles off course, wasn't it? I should say. That's actually a considerable distance. But of course, boats float around them, don't they? Really? I think the word. So this word here, I think it's come up a couple of times for you. Can you just say that word again for me? That one there.
Partially.
Yeah. So you're breaking it up a little bit. So it's sort of that. So it's partially.
Partially.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So in part, normally it means partially. I think
Submerged.
Yeah, and submerged. That's it. So a submarine submerges under the water, doesn't it? That's it.
Mm.
When you're doing the washing up, you
Mm.
submerge your hands under the water to do the washing up in the sink, don't you? That sort of thing. I liked how you read this out here, SOS. Normally we read it out that way, SOS, the 3 letters. You could pronounce it as sauce, I suppose, but
No,
it's
SOS.
never pronounced that
Famous
way. That's it. Yeah.
ABBA song. SOS.
Save our souls. That's it. Yes. Save our souls in English, anyway. Okay, so let's scroll on because we're running out of time here.
Mm.
So, Michael, do you fancy going next, perhaps? So, this seems to be a boat called the Carroll A. Deering. I think the boat is called that, anyway. And maybe this is a photo. Yeah, so the wreckage of Carroll A. Deering, photo by Getty. Strange looking boat. It's a triangle. So, this is your one, Michael, if you're still with us. Over to you then.
Okay. In late January 1921, the Carroll Deering, a 5-masted schooner, schooner built for speed and capacity in the post-First World War shipping boom, was spotted off the coast of North Carolina. It has heading right for diamond shoals. The so-called graveyard of the Atlantic. It would take several days before anyone was able to board the ship, which had indeed run aground on the notorious shoals. But the 20-strong crew and lifeboats were missing. No sign of them has ever been found since. There was damage of the steering equipment, and an earlier communication with the ship revealed that the anchors had been lost, but the cause for the desertion had never been ascertained. Could it have collided with another vessel, or had there been a misjudged mutiny? The captain had complained of the crew being difficult. Other theories have suggested that Deering was hijacked by Prohibition-era rum runners or Russian saboteurs. And of course, with a mystery like this, it wouldn't be long before the Bermuda Triangle was mentioned.
Yes, that's it. So that last line is the Bermuda Triangle was mentioned. Bermuda. Let's say Bermuda.
Bermuda.
So Bermuda's a small island, not far from Florida, I suppose. Anything there? Want to go back over again? That was good reading, I thought.
Shoals.
Yeah, that's the tricky word, isn't it? So
Shoals.
you're pretty much there. Shoals. So if that was a sea, it would be coals, like you get coal out of the ground, but it isn't sea, so so you just make it a sh sound at the beginning. So shoals.
Oh. Notorious. On the notorious show. Notorious.
Shoals. Let's look at the word then. So a large number of fish swimming together. That's a shoal of fish. That's a different meaning though. So then it seems to be fish again. Let's look for more meanings. I've clicked on it. What happened there? So it's still looking at fish here, isn't it? But it's also a verb meaning to become shallow. To cause something to become shallow. So if the water is shallow, the boat might hit the ground, the bottom of the ocean, and damage the bottom and sink. So here we go. Shoal number 2, an area of shallow water. That's a shoal as well. So there's 2 meanings. It could be a whole bunch of small fish swimming around, or where the water is shallow. There we go. That's that one. And that's why it's notorious. So lots of boats presumably have been sailing along, but the bottom of the boat has hit the seabed, became damaged or stuck there, and it's become notorious because it happened a number of times, and perhaps people have died, I guess. And there was this other
Schooner.
S. Yes, that's exactly the same word. So you're saying it's spot on. So schooner, it's a type of boat. You remember there was the other one you had, brigantine, wasn't it? So this one's a schooner. It's another design of boat. They're here. It's saying it's got 5 masts. I wouldn't have known that, to be honest. So it's a pretty big boat, it sounds. And there was this line here, which is a little bit tricky. It's got these two tricky. Oh, I'm stuck now. So if I read it to you first of all, he pretty much had it really. So, but the cause for the desertion has never been ascertained. Ascertained. Do you want to just practice that line again? But the cause for the desertion. You'll go, Michael.
But the cause for the desertion has never been ascertained.
Yes, spot on. Yeah, spot on. Desertion, and ascertained. Yeah, ascertained is spot on. That's it. So, what's a mutiny? What's mutiny? There's often the word "a" in front of it. A mutiny. A mutiny.
It's like sabotage. It's like
Well, it's a little vaguely similar.
rebellion.
Yeah, it's more
After
like a rebellion. That's it.
against the captain.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yes. It's when someone's in authority and the people below him are refusing to accept his authority and they're doing their own thing. So a mutiny. So often it's when there's soldiers or army, or in this case on a boat where there's a captain. So spot on, exactly it. But if it's at work and you're refusing to use the computer the way your boss does, that's not really a mutiny. Technically, it's not a mutiny. Technically, anyway. Here we go. So down the bottom here, it says about Prohibition era. What are they saying? What do they mean by that? And they're saying Prohibition era rum runners. So what is all that?
I mean, it was like law uh, prohibit alcohol. It's dry
Yes,
law.
yes,
It's
that's
like
it.
dry without alcohol.
Mm.
And some ship try to.
Mm. So there's a particular date this is associated with. Do you know what that date is? Normally, anyway.
You mean from which
Well,
years to
this
which year?
phrase here, well, era means a period of time, doesn't it? Period of time. An era could be thousands of years or hundreds of years, but it isn't hundreds. It's just about 10 years, roughly speaking.
No, it may be 20, 30 years of
Y-
20
Yes,
centuries.
that's it. So the Prohibition era, it was in the 1920s, basically. That's it. So in America, there was a lot of feeling about a bad feeling about alcohol, that it was ruining people's lives, that the husband would drink his wages and then beat up his wife. And that was the kind of situation. And people sort of there was a political campaign. And in the 1920s, I'm not sure, it might have been 1919, I think they passed a law. And they effectively banned the sale of alcohol and in certain situations. And that's the Prohibition era in America. Britain didn't have that. And I think it was actually written into the Constitution of America. It might have been the 23rd Act of the Constitution of America. I can't remember which one it was now. But after just over a decade, what they found is they found that people carried on drinking, but they just did it secretively in sort of special sort of cafes and things. And I think even the mayor of New York was found in what was called a speakeasy, drinking alcohol when it was illegal, sort of thing. We shouldn't have been doing it. What they found was people like the gangsters ended up taking over the production of and the sale of alcohol, and so really this idea of prohibition just didn't work, and they gave up on it eventually. after about 11 years, I think it was. So what about this word here? You're pretty good on it, but you perhaps need to practice it a little bit. What does that word mean? I'm sure you probably know, really.
Hijacked. It's like stolen, steal
Yeah,
something.
that's it. Yes, you pretty much got it. So often I talk about hijacking, or someone has hijacked an airplane or a bus, maybe. So sometimes it's often I think it's something that's moving. It's a moving something that moves. If it's stationary, they don't often talk about hijacking. You don't talk about someone hijacked the liquor store, the alcohol store. They talk about hijacking planes or boats or buses, perhaps. That's it. So where a terrorist or someone takes over a plane or a boat or something for their own purposes. That's it. Anything else there? Anything else?
Could it have collided? It's third paragraph.
Yes.
Third, could it have collided with another vessels? It's my almost last sentence.
Oh, collided. That one there. So
Collided.
could it have collided with another vessel or have been a misjudged mutiny? So if two boats hit each other, you can say they collided.
Yeah.
They hit each other side by side, presumably, and both of them got damaged. But two cars might collide as well,
Collide. Yeah.
or two people might collide while they're walking along. That's it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's great. Did schooner. I think there was the word anchor up here, wasn't there? So
Anchor.
anchor. So yeah. So once
Yes,
again,
it's third
anchor.
paragraph. Third paragraph. Anchor. The second sentence.
Yeah.
Anchor.
Yeah. That's it. Anchor or anchors. That's it. Anchor. I think that was it really. That's what I noticed. Okay, let's scroll on then. So Giuseppe, if you're still with us, Giuseppe, it's over to you. Assuming there's more to read. Let me just read this little bit here to finish that story off. I hate leaving a story in the middle. So, an intriguing clue to the ship's fate emerged in April 1921. And that was the year it disappeared, wasn't it? In 2021, I think. When a message in a bottle washed up claiming it had been captured by an oil-burning boat. The note, however, was found to be a hoax by a local fisherman. But further investigation of the Deering was impossible. In March, the wreck had been destroyed as part of efforts to remove hazards from the shoals. So they destroyed the boat to make it safe, but it also destroyed all evidence to find out what really happened. So it's over to you, Giuseppe, with this last one.
Okay. SS, I don't know, Awarang or Orang Medan, I don't know what language is that. So the tale of the SS Orang Medan is shrouded in mystery, marked by a significant lack of evidence and conflicting reports. In fact, that's all it might be, a tale, an urban legend. After all, no ship of that name ever appeared on official records and shipping registers. According to the story, the Dutch ship was passing through the Strait of Malacca of Indonesia in the 1940s when its radio operator sent out a frantic SOS claiming the officers were dead and that remainder of the crew probably were too before transmitting one final chilling message, I die. A rescue ship rushed to the scene, but all that was found was the Orang Medan adrift with no signs of life. The bodies of the crew were strewn everywhere, fixed with expression of terror, despite no visible injuries or clear cause of death. Before the ship could be investigated further, a fire reportedly broke out, and the rescuer had to get clear of the ship before it exploded, sending the wreck into the depths. Theories have swirled around the fate of the Orang Medan, as has the question of whether it truly existed. Regardless, it remains one of the most haunting ghost ship legends out there.
Hmm. I don't know what to make of that story. So anything you noticed there? And again, I've not heard of the name, so I don't know how to pronounce that either. I don't know how to pronounce that name.
Or maybe the pronunciation of Malacca or
Oh,
Indonesia, or yeah, maybe
that was.
nouns are the
Hmm.
most challenging part.
So this bit here, that's perfect. Straits of Malacca, off Indonesia. That's perfect. That's exactly how it said. Malacca, Indonesia. That's it. Very good. And your guess at the name is just as good as I would say, really. Medan, perhaps, I don't know.
And yeah, we have in the same paragraph frantic SOS claiming.
Mm.
So frantic is kind of chaotic, or maybe I don't know the meaning of frantic.
If you're frantic, it might happen to be chaotic, but I don't know if frantic is exactly has that meaning in there. Maybe a little bit in there. But if something's frantic, you're just doing it feverishly, very quickly, because there's fear in what you're doing. If you're frantic, very, very quickly, very rushed. So let's tap it into the dictionary. Supposed. Have I spelled it correctly? Yes, I have. Frantic. Frantic activity, frantic attempt, frantic call. If you are frantic, you are behaving in a wild and uncontrolled way because you are frightened or worried. So there is the idea a little bit chaotic if it's uncontrolled, isn't it? But if you're making an SOS message, let's have a look. So if an activity is frantic, things are done quickly and in an energetic but disorganized way because there is very little time. A busy night in the restaurant can be frantic in the kitchen. So it's hectic, desperate, frenzied, fraught, informal. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So there's the idea of a little bit chaotic in there too, isn't it, from what they're saying? I was saying it wasn't really there, but they're saying it is. I think they're right, of course, really. It's a little bit peculiar that it's at one point they say there's no evidence of it, but there's so much detail in the story. In the 1940s, off Malacca, someone was SOS. The message was "I die." People got on board the boat. So the very last paragraph down the bottom here, if I just perhaps read it to you, this one here. So theories have swirled around the fate of the Orang Medan as has the question of whether it truly existed. Regardless, it remains one of the most haunting ghost ship stories out there. So really, I guess it's swirled. That's a slightly tricky word there, maybe. So swirled.
Swirled.
That's it. So it's like that's right. So it's like the planet Earth when you say world, but there's an S in front of it. Swirled, almost sort of thing. That's pretty good. I think it was this one here. It might have been the word report, but it might have been reportedly. I can't think. It just came out slightly oddly, I think. So Do you fancy just reading that little bit there again? That half a paragraph.
Yeah. A fire reportedly broke out, and the rescuers had to get clear of the ship before it exploded, sending the wreck into the depths.
That's it. So when it says into the depths, we could have said sending the wreck down to Davy Jones' locker. That'd be another way of putting it. This is slightly over the top way of saying it. And that word there, I would say rescuers. Rescuers.
Rescuers.
That's it.
Rescuers.
Rescuers. This bit in the middle, I can really hear you saying cuers. It's very strong when you're saying it, but it's not quite so strong at that point. So if I just say the word again, so rescuers, rescuers.
Rescuers.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's at the beginning.
Rescuers.
Let's stick it into the dictionary. I think the emphasis is at the beginning of the word. Let's see. Well, there's more than one way of saying it, possibly, of course. So if you rescue rescuers, oh, there's rescuers here. Let's listen to how they say it.
Rescuers.
It took rescuers 90 minutes to reach the trapped men. Let's listen again.
Rescuers.
Rescuers. You'll go.
Rescuers.
And maybe once more. So rescuers.
Rescuers.
You'll go.
Rescuers.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, rescuers. So the people who attempt a rescue normally. Okay, yes. Anything else there?
Maybe at the very beginning of this paragraph, we have, first line is the tail of SS Orang Medan is shrouded.
Yes.
I think it's kind of covered with a veil or something. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So there's the Turin shroud. The Turin shroud. That's the same word, but obviously there's an ed on the end of it. So the Turin shroud. That's the English way of putting it, of course. So something is covered with something. That's it. You might say, so here it is shrouded in mystery. Something is completely covered in mystery. That's it. So shrouded. Do you want to just say the word? Shrouded?
Shrouded.
Yeah, that's it. Shrouded. Shroud and shrouded.
Shroud and shrouded.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Very good.
Okay, great.
And thinking about it, there's this word here. That word just came out slightly oddly. So do you fancy just rereading that half a sentence there to there? A bit there.
Yeah. In the 1940s, when its radio operator sent out the frantic SOS claiming the officers were dead.
Okay. So you're saying oshifers. It's more officers. I said it wrong myself then.
Officers.
That's it. Officers. So that's an office. That's actually a room, isn't it, in a building? But as soon as you put the R on the end, it becomes a person. So an officer is normally a captain or someone important who has rank. And so this is now plural because there's an S on there. So officers.
Okay.
Do you want to say-
Officers.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, that's it. You've got it. Absolutely perfect. So some with rank. So it could be in Britain, it would be police officers maybe as well as officers in the armed forces like the Air Force or the Army or something. Although in Britain, the police force is drawn from the sort of civilian population. The police is supposed not to be in any way military. They're basically just citizens who happen to be wearing a uniform and who are particularly asked to enforce the law of the land, effectively, you might say. So supposedly I have the same rights as a policeman to arrest somebody. But a policeman it's just that happens to be their job in this country anyway. I don't know how it works elsewhere, of course. That's how it's set up in the UK. Any other little questions there from anybody?
Yes, just one, if
Hmm.
you don't mind.
No.
There was, yeah, after the read more, we have another paragraph and the rescue ship. And then there is the bodies of the crew were strewn everywhere. I don't know if I was correct saying strewn. We have
Whereabouts is
the
that?
red dot, read
Yes.
more, and the following paragraph. Third
Okay.
line, we have the bodies of the crew were strewn, I think, everywhere.
Yeah, that one's the last pronunciation, strewn. Strewn.
Strewn, okay.
Strewn. So it's here, there, and everywhere, in no pattern to it. A little bit sort of chaotically laid out.
Oh,
But I mean, they're
strewn.
people, one imagines, isn't it? So they weren't all lined up all together or something. Strewn. Strewn. So it's the past
you.
tense, I guess. But let's listen. Strewn all over. I've hit the search button. Strewn. So let's listen to how they say it.
strewn,
Strewn. If a place is strewn with things, they are lying scattered there. The front room, so the front room might be your nicest room in the house. The front room was strewn with books and clothes. Strewn. So it's the past participle of strew. Strewn gets a much more use than strew. I can't think of the last time I heard the word strew. It seems that's a very rare word, I would say. To strew things somewhere is to, again, I've never really used this word. Strewing, strewed. It's, for some reason, it's always the past tense.
strewn,
I've normally only ever heard the past tense of this word, not the current. Okay, so scatter, spread, litter, toss around. There we go. Right, okay, so do you guys believe any of these stories? Which ones is ridiculous and which ones do you believe? Or are they all true stories?
I think that because of the existence of ships or remnants and maybe also reported stories,
Hmm.
I think they can be true. Yeah, I think could be important to know more particular, for example, in these last stories, the way instruments were stolen or gutted, or maybe, just more description about what they discovered on those ships. And and of course, when in my experience, I had many sailors as patients, and actually someone tried to tell me their stories, maybe sailing the oceans, and despite they were maybe over their 80s, they were quite unable to tell stories, having some fear or something terrible or horrific in their in their in their situation. So, and actually there was one specifically who couldn't tell me anything about his experience, kind of evil or maybe something bad, maybe visions or something that happened. And I think that those people were sailing in the before the Second World War, so in the 40s, so when sails and were not so modern, and also they
Mm.
used to sail for months, 6 or 8 or more months. So, and probably the absence of relation except of the crew and the absence of normal life would be evoke visions, or maybe, but probably there is something true in these stories, because
Because of your experience and the stories you've heard,
yeah,
you think
yeah.
there's probably more to these stories than meets the eye. That's interesting. That's a phrase you might use, meets the eye.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Fascinating. So I think the last story we read was this one here, and that was the one where there's no record of this ship even existing. Well, there must be millions of little boats. Maybe not all boats are registered, so I don't know if that really is necessarily a proves or disproves it. I think there may be, as it wasn't at one point talked about boats used in Prohibition, which was an illegal activity. So if it's some sort of illegal or sort of semi-legal use.
And also, I think, for example, about Flying Dutchman, sometimes we have the ability to kind of translate our fear in images, and the more we are scared, the more we have images that can describe our scare. So, and one sentence that sailor used to tell me was, "You can't imagine. You can't imagine." And it was impressive.
Wow.
Because he was trying to share something, but probably I wasn't the right person to share, or probably he wasn't able to find the right words. Yeah.
I have heard, it says the Flying Dutchman, and all of these pictures and drawings here have the boat on the water. And I have heard stories that in certain situations you can see a boat apparently in the air above, considerably some way above the water. And that's possibly where this idea of the Flying Dutchman comes from. And that might sound impossible, but apparently it can effectively be a sort of something like an illusion of how it appears, because of the distance and the fact that the earth is curved, and the fact that the water acts like a mirror in some cases. It can give the appearance that the boat is a considerable distance above the water, floating, but it's basically something like a mirage or an illusion.
Yeah, but also I read that is possible in specific context, that you have so not strong, but I think extreme winds that are able to kind of hoover everything you is on the ocean or sea surface. So, for example, the phenomenon of flying fish, and so maybe also fish.
Like mirage.
Not mirage. So these winds are able to hoover, I don't know, to absorb from the sea. Everything is in the water, and and straw maybe fish, or also boats on continents. So on places where you have not water, you have not sea. Yeah, it's kind of that. Yeah. Sorry for my explanation, but
no, it's very good. So So this word actually came up in what we were just reading. So, waterspouts are rotating columns of air that form over a body of water, essentially tornadoes that that occur over water. They can be categorized as either tornadic or fair weather tornadoes. Fair weather waterspouts are weaker and more common, while tornadic waterspouts are stronger and associated with thunderstorms. I didn't realize there was these two different versions, but I think I have seen a film of a fair weather waterspout. So fair weather means it's just like normal sunny weather, probably. It's just reasonably good weather. And all of a sudden there's this weird thing, like in the photograph here, of basically it was like a tornado. No, a very, very small photo. Let's look at the photos over here, maybe. This one looks like we were talking about, I think. Yeah, so I think this looks like something of a tornado, but over land, but it's about to go over the water. And of course, when it goes over the water, it just sucks up all the water into the air like an enormous fountain. That's a waterspout. And they can look very odd when the weather's quite nice and you just see this weird thing going along a few hundred meters away or half a mile away, maybe. Yeah, so it's very peculiar. I think if a small boat went over that, it would presumably be sucked up, just as you're saying, I think, Giuseppe. Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I thought it was very, very interesting. Maybe we'll leave it there. So there'll be classes next week as well, I think. But so next week will be the last week. So we're still in June at the moment, but tomorrow is actually the 1st of July, I believe, isn't it? But so the rest of this week there'll be classes Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and next week the same again, and then that'll be the last week for until September, I think.
Okay.
Right. So thank you once again, guys. See you next time, hopefully.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.